This is Teaching to the Test Pattern.
Hey buddy, welcome to Teaching to the Test Pattern. I'm Tom White, and today, very excited about this interview. When you hear about this program, your mind is going to be blown, and when you hear what happened to them last week, you're going to be very excited that things like this are happening, and I'm very, very excited to have on my guest, Jessica. Jessica, thank you so much for joining me today. Jessica from Arlington High School in Arlington, Tennessee. Kind of give us whereabouts in Tennessee that is. I know it's nearish Memphis.
Yeah, so thanks for having me. I am in West Tennessee, so I'm about 20 miles outside of Memphis, Tennessee.
Excellent. And Arlington High School last week, the Tennessee High School Press Association, and I actually had to take notes, 19 awards, including one of your colleagues getting Teacher of the Year, your admin getting Admin of the Year. Here comes the list for the students. And this is not a comprehensive list. This is just the highlights. Best Reporter, Best Live Event Coverage, ×2, first and second place. Best Feature Story, Best Feature Package, Advertisement Design, and runner-up for Journalist of the Year. So congratulations for all of those things.
Thank you so much. We're so proud of all those.
So let's talk about how you got started in video production education, and then we'll talk about how cool your program is.
Okay. So I actually did, in high school, my film and video media arts teacher, Christopher Holcomb, who is actually a listener and supporter. He was my teacher in high school and really got me invested in this. And I pursued this in college. So I have a broadcast journalism degree. My other film and video, Mr. Holcomb's colleague, my other film and video teacher, Miss Boyle, actually retired right after the year started and asked me to come and take her position. And so I was kind of like shoved into the education world, and it was such a great opportunity because I got to be at the school I graduated from. I got to be a coworker alongside of the people that I had as teachers, and it was a unique experience for me to see the other side of that, being a teacher for the program I used to be a student of. So I left from that school. They did not renew my position there, and I went to a school out here near me, Millington High School, and started a little film program there. And then after 3 years, I transferred to Arlington High School. And so I've been here at Arlington. I believe this is my 14th year.
Excellent. So, one of the things that we talk about at Camp T&I here in Georgia is that there are no colleges producing video production educators. It's not something that happens. It's not like there's
nothing.
but in a roundabout way, you are the exception to that rule.
Yes. My college experience in broadcast journalism was basically because my film and video experience in high school had been so robust that my college experience didn't actually meet my needs. And so I had already applied and was getting work as freelance video production. I have Yahoo Sports on my resume. I worked in as a production assistant on Walk the Line, the movie, the feature film, and I worked as a news editor at Channel 3. So this is all during college, because my college experience was not enough to match what I had gotten at the high school level. So I had to make my own education, basically.
And that is, as a video production educator, that is the dream. That
Yes,
is,
that is what I replicate here, basically, at my program is I am giving you a better than a college experience, most likely. And so the goal is to better equip you moving into college or career to where you walk in lead of the class, for sure.
So let's talk about the program there. It is, when you dig into the website, ahstigerlife.com, it's robust. You've got a massive program there. Talk about just kind of the overall, because you can't get into it. We don't have that much tape to record everything you guys have going on.
So AHS Tiger Life is the branding of our entire media arts department. So that's where I think a lot of schools miss the mark, is that they have not branded themselves as a media department or a network or something along those lines. We are Tiger Life Media, and we encompass all things digital journalism, video production, writing, and anything that you would find in a public relations department, or a communications department of a medium-sized business. That's kind of what we modeled our department after. What we are trying to do with our department is publicize ourselves and publicize the achievements of the students and the community that we live in.
Excellent. So, kind of break down your program into layman's terms into kind of a broadcast journalism or a film or advertising design.
Yeah, so we primarily focus on three departments here at Arlington High School. And when I say departments, I mean like pathways in media arts. So we've got television production, we have film, like narrative filmmaking, and then what we have is digital journalism and live streaming. So those are the three components that our advanced students here really can kind of focus on, and we have classes to meet those needs.
And jumping into your live streaming, crazy, insane, awesome setup. Something that a lot of people would be very jealous of. Um, and as I was researching for this, saw that you did something pretty cool recently with a basketball broadcast.
Yeah, so every broadcast we do something cool, so I'm actually unsure like what we're
the
talking
the
about.
German
Um,
broadcast. How about that?
yes. So, like last year I had to remember because we added a live drone shot to our live broadcast last year, and so that was kind of we were really excited about that. This year earlier we added on sideline reporters, we added additional camera feeds and stuff, and that um and so that's why I literally was at a loss for a second there. So I had to catch myself. Yes, so I ordered a part for our live streaming setup. We call it the Fly Pack, and it basically records our output and pushes it through an encoder and OBS into a iMac that we have, and we're able to live stream twice basically. So we're using the same feed, but we had a different audio setup for that second feed where we were able to let my German foreign exchange student, he actually commented play by play in German. We had a color commentator who was in English, so he would play by play in German, and then when the play would stop, he would turn to his English counterpart and in English talk about the play and talk about the foul and talk about things in the game. It was an incredible experience. We were very excited about that.
And something that people may not know is that the West Tennessee area has a huge German population. So you're really kind of hitting your demographic in that area in a different way.
Yeah, there is actually, it is a very diverse community here in the Mid South. There's a big Hispanic population. There is a big Filipino population, actually, because we have a Navy base here in town. There is quite a few cultural, diversities here. And so, in addition to offering German, we hope in the future to be able to offer Spanish, French, and other languages that people might take an interest to. So that was kind of our test run, was to see how well that worked out for us, and it worked out great.
And your live broadcasts are a big deal. I mean, there's if you go into your social media and you dig around, you can see. Why is that such a big deal for you in terms of providing that for students? Because it's a very big commitment personally.
Yeah. And so I want to take us back to 2019, 2018, when we kind of started this. We here at the school, I had a student that was just real interested in commentating for sports. And so we grabbed an iPad and a cell phone and kind of just did it, running gun style. And the district was really excited about that and started kind of securing some footage, I mean not footage, equipment for us to do that. And then COVID hit, and they weren't allowed to have fans in the stands, and so this live streaming opportunity became almost a necessity for the district. And it showed the community what a value live streaming is. And so now we kind of pour our heart and soul into it, to where we kind of keep trying to one up ourselves. Like, what did we do last season that we can do better? And so that's kind of what we continue to do. So, like, I can talk about what we're planning on doing this summer that just is continually setting the bar higher and higher. And so our district has made it a priority for us, and my students make it a priority for themselves. So it's not something I'm forcing on the students. The students absolutely love it. They don't like being there late, but that's just a part of the job. But they absolutely love live television, and they love the live streaming aspect of our program.
Gotcha. So what are you working on this summer? You mentioned.
So I just bought a big, huge live streaming trailer. So it's a 28 footer. With it's going to have 10 individual student spots that they can sit in, with a dedicated replay room and a dedicated audio room, control room, the whole thing. We're upgrading to fiber. So typically we have been using SDI in the past, and because that the industry has reduced its cost on fiber cabling, we're able to outfit everything with fiber. So that will include our communications and our tally lights and a monitor now for our cameras. I can't afford to upgrade us to full broadcast cameras and that sort of stuff. So you have to remember, like, we are working with a very minimal budget in terms of what real broadcast stations spend to produce these games. We're doing the exact same thing for like pennies on the dollar, basically. And so that's the biggest upgrades for us, is the live streaming trailer, fiber, and upgrading communications and tally lights and monitors.
Yeah, fiber's a big deal. The first time I got into fiber several years ago, I was like, "Wait, this exists where you can send audio and video back and forth, and it's a super easy thing to do." And you're right, the price has come down tremendously in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
So, talk about what a normal day at Arlington High School for your guys, for your students. Talk about kind of what they go through. I see
Chaos.
you. I see your board behind you, which is more organization than I ever had.
Oh gosh. Well, it's funny about the board behind me is because they've erased it over here, and we have an elliptical and a bicycle in my room, and so they actually wrote down how fast they can do 1 mile on each, so they have like a little challenge. So when I try to tell people that it's organized chaos, it's exactly what it is. Every class period comes in, it's a working environment. So I assign what we're doing for the quarter at the start of the quarter for all of my students. So they have exactly what they need to work on and what they need to accomplish for the quarter. And they spend their time working on what they feel they need to work on for the day. So sometimes they come in and they're working on a script, and another person's already grabbing a camera, and everyone is just kind of balanced to their level of work. Different classes have different expectations, and I mean, I would love to say that I have it all figured out, but I swear every day is something new, or putting out fires. It's just a constant battle of getting the kids where they need to be, because some students don't need any like redirection or focus, and then some students I have to basically hover over to get to work on something, or really help them one-on-one. So I wish I had the like perfect classroom setup. I wish I had like, the best curriculum. It has worked for me, for sure. Some people don't like that whole loosey gooseness where, this is what we're doing exactly at the start of the quarter, and these will be your grades. Some students kind of like that, and some students don't, and some teachers like that, and some teachers don't. It has worked for my program though exceptionally well.
And I think it's one of those things that as your students progress, and if they do go to college, they're going to see that that's how a college runs. When you step in on day one, your professor can tell you what you're doing on whatever the next whatever day of the semester. So I think that's one of those things that prepares students more than they realize, and really gives them that leg up that you talked about earlier.
Yeah, I try to model that organization as well. So, like, if you are an unorganized teacher, that won't work for you. My organization is pretty One of my best attributes. And so I have everything listed out what you should work on for the day or the week. And so I'm able to give kind of like a structure to students that they should follow. And then some students don't, and some students do. Some students work faster, that sort of stuff. So you have to be your own model and organization. And like work ethic, like if the students kind of see you not working, they get this vibe that they don't have to work as hard either. So that's the biggest testament that I can uh talk about is, you have to have kind of that organization in place, if you want to operate your classroom as such.
So, what project do you assign or task do you assign to your students that you really think is your favorite or the best or most beneficial to them?
So what I have found is that lots of people assign video projects and they only give like a week or two for the students to work on. And I have found that giving a student about 4 to 5 weeks to work on a heavier project is kind of where the sweet spot is. So that gives them in like almost an entire week of, oh my gosh, the microphone didn't work kind of stuff, which they all go through every quarter, or the light didn't work or something went wrong, and they can redo, because you have to remember they're students. So normal, video production people wouldn't need that long, but for students you have to give them that time to redo stuff and constantly work on their project to finally to turn it in to make it better. So we have 3 or 4 days where I come around and watch their project and just give them a huge list of stuff they either have to redo or fix or make better before they're even allowed to turn it in. So we don't turn in stuff for grades. We turn in stuff for publication.
Gotcha. Changing gears back to live streaming, if you could add one thing to your productions, what would it be?
Oh my gosh. I like I love our graphics package. We have the Ross video expression, which is, what everyone in the industry uses. It is such an overwhelming um, pack, like credit graphics suite, that it's almost impossible for me to teach the kids. The one thing I wish was a little bit easier was probably the graphics. We did just add a statistics thing to the graphics where I can have a student sitting at the table with the commentators and they type in the statistics to an Excel spreadsheet that actually like calls back to the graphics computer that's at the live streaming pack, and it will update the statistics. Like when we call up someone's name, it'll say points and rebounds and stuff now. So that's something new that we added this year. I just wish it was a little bit easier to do like the cool swoop ins and, like all of the cool stuff that they see on ESPN and sports productions. They're always like, can we do that? And I'm like, well, yeah, of course you can. But it takes like 6 hours to replicate that in the Ross graphic stuff. So that's the one thing I think would be a little bit easier.
Gotcha. And do you have a student, and you may not, that this is their thing, and that's they dive into that? Do you? I've always found that anytime I had a situation like that, I always found one kid who was like, "I got it. I just need time to do it."
Yeah, I actually have quite a few. So, one thing that I love about my students is some of them, like, this is just their jam. Like they just come in and they just know what they love. And I've got quite a few that are like that. The one that won runner up for best journalist of the year, he's one that he asked last year if we could have a sports journalism class. And I asked administration and they said yes. And then 75 kids signed up.
Wow.
So it's, the students drive the program here. So what they want to focus in, what they think is important and relevant to them, we like shape and the curriculum and classes to match. So it's an ebb and flow of a program. So some years we only have like 12 students in the television production class. And then, 3 years ago in the television production class, we had like 40 kids. So it's whatever the kids see fit to their, needs is how we change the program.
Gotcha. And if you could add one thing to your program that you don't already have, what would it be?
This only video production teachers will understand, but I would love a dedicated equipment manager like that. That is they would be worth their weight in gold. And so everyone at home that's not a video teacher is just like, that's silly. You just make your student that. And I'm like, oh, I wish, but it can't happen. So, like I'm staring at cables I need to help wrap, or, microphones that, like, instead of putting it right back, they put it right back next to the place that it calls home. And so equipment, inventory and management, that is just such a downfall of video production, schools across the nation. I have not found anyone who has it down.
No.
Like
Not that doesn't have a dedicated person.
Yes. Yeah. It just is. It's one of those things.
Yeah,
Like, immediately knew the answer. As soon as you asked that question, I was like, oh, I know it. No, I know it.
When I started here, the first person I met was our equipment supply room guy. And I was like, oh, yeah, this guy has the job.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, again, congratulations on all of the great things that you guys have going on up there. We actually, I didn't know about the awards. We actually talked last week about, getting on here and doing this. And then I see the post and I'm like, oh, wow, I got to get on, get this happening now. And
it just so happened that, like, we had our awards last week when we had just talked about doing this podcast. So it was like perfect timing.
Awesome. Well, thank you again. And I know you are putting in grades because it's the day before spring break for you. So I'm going to let you get out of here a little quicker than I normally want to try to hold on to, but definitely want to make sure you can get out there and enjoy your break.
Yeah. Can I leave my email address and stuff for people that want to ask me questions? I get all sorts of questions about our live streaming stuff. And so I'm happy to share any of that sort of stuff and curriculum stuff, to other teachers that are interested.
Awesome. What I can do is I can put that on the site, and when they watch the video, download the podcast, they can go to Stream Semester and get that stuff.
That'd be great.
Awesome. Well, thank you again.
Teaching to the test pattern.